Now, leading into example 3, it starts talking about how could we find out what the slope, they use the letter A, I'm going to use the letter M here, what the slope is and the y-intercept given a set of data. And so here's what the formula that happens is you take that correlation coefficient and you multiply it by the standard deviation of the y data set divided by the standard deviation of the x-intercept. So if you think about like the slope being rise over run, it's the standard deviation of the rise, the y values, divided by the standard deviation of the run, which would be the x values. Multiplied that by the correlation coefficient, you would get your slope. And the b value would be the mean, the average y value, minus the slope times the mean of the x data set. So in our particular problem, I'm now going to zoom back in on, we had that earlier. I'm going to come back up to this data set. We have all this, and I'm going to zoom in on that. So here was my data points, and we're now going to see this linear regression that we came up with. We had, let me minimize the alpha. Okay, here we go, linear regression. Here's this equation we believe is true. When I click it, you'll see there is the linear representation of this data set. There's the regression. The slope happens to be the M 2,563.58, which would refer to, well, let me come over here and I'll write it down. It says, find the equation of the regression line for the data used in example 1. Interpret the slope and y-intercept in this context. Then assess the fit of the model equation by graphing and allowing the scatter plotted data in the same window, which I've already taken part of the last one. So here's our equation, and this is the way you usually write it, is y hat. So that the y hat equals 2,563.58 x plus 57. You know what? I'm going to put commas in there to make it easier. Separate 57,953.4. Okay, so in this context, what does this mean? Here's my equation right here. What does this mean in this context? It means this, that the starting salary, that's the y-intercept, that the starting salary is approximately $57,000, $57,953.40 is what I should say. That's the starting salary. And here this says that for the slope, it's talking about for every extra year you've worked. The salary increases approximately $2,563.58 for every year of experience. Okay, so that's what this line and slope means in this context. This would be your starting salary, the y-intercept. If you have not worked at all, you have 0 years of experience, you'd be starting salary at $57,953.40. And each additional year you work, you get a raise of $2,563.58. That's what the data is indicating. Now here's your problem. Again, going off of your DOLs from number 1 and number 2, come up with your equation. Pause the video if you need more time, or if you need to go back and get your data. Here was yours for DOL number 1. You can use this data. And one more time, your DOL for this problem.